if it isn't Alex Pettyfer appearing on my show for the I Am Number 4th time. And I'm not apologizing for that. For those of you not keeping track, Alex Pettyfer is the young heartthrob who starred in other such literary adaptations like Stormbreaker, Beastly, and of course, Endless Love, an adaptation that was so bad it has a permanent slot on my top 10 worst movies on the channel. While I Am Number 4 was only the second of this list chronologically, fans have been requesting that I cover this movie and book for half a decade. Well, wait no longer because we're doing this, and yes, this movie sucks. The I Am Number 4 book series, known as the Lorien Legacies, follows a group of aliens from the planet Lorien who seek refuge on Earth. At the start of the book, they're losing a war against another group of aliens called the Mogadorians. John Smith is the fourth of these refugee aliens, who, thanks to a magical charm, can only be killed in a certain order. Unfortunately, the first three Loric aliens have been killed, and John is next on the chopping block. Fortunately, his own powers are finally waking up, so he might have a fighting chance. Published in 2010, The Lorien Legacies is a young adult series of 7 books written by Pittacus Lore, the in-universe chief elder from the planet Lorien. Pittacus Lore is also the pen name used by James Frey and Joby Hughes. However, one minor point of contention to someone with OCD might be the order of these books. You see, it's not that they go book 1, 2, 3, etc. They actually go I Am Number 4, The Power of 6, The Rise of 9, The Fall of 5, The Revenge of 7, The Fate of 10, and United as One. The movie came out in 2011. While it made a decent enough profit in the box office, it came up short in its critical reception. Audiences were lukewarm to the movie, and plans for a sequel were soon scrapped. While there had been plans to build a franchise with a heavy reliance on a teenaged audience, the publicity of the movie was geared up to appeal to the Twilight demographic.
This is Jacob. Hello.
So many evils in the literary world come back to Twilight. While Twilight was still in high demand, I Am Number 4 was called The Next Twilight, a statement that I took as such negative press that I completely swore off the series the first time I heard it. Now, is the movie as bad as Twilight? No. But is it bad? But while the movie comes up short, fans will delight in a very extensive universe with multiple series and short stories coming out even earlier this year. But what does the movie give us? Well, let's find out for ourselves as we light our way through the darkness. This is I Am Number 4. This review is gonna be lit. The movie actually starts out really well, both on its own and as an adaptation. The movie actually takes us to Africa, where we meet Number 3. Very, very briefly. This was almost a step-for-step remake of the book's prologue, including showing the boy's necklace, the Mogadorians, and the necklaces of the other kids. So the scene gets a passing grade. And that will be the last compliment I pay the movie for a long while. We cut to Number 4.
You're weak.
No, not that one. This Number 4 starts the movie doing what every character does in these young adult character introductions. Radical stuff! Can I just say how tired I am of movies relying on garbage tier cliches like this, as if jet skiing is somehow considered a personality trait? This is just what gormless directors do to try to relate to younger audiences.
How do you do, fellow kids?
So after a short scene of 4 being totally tubular, he hangs out on the beach in the Gulf of Mexico. And that's when he gets a fancy new tattoo via a psychic branding iron.
Daniel?
So this brand serves as kind of a psychic warning signal between all the Lorien kids. As soon as one dies, this brand lights up on their skin. If the Lorien are going for secret and subtle, this is a lousy way to do it. This is like if the US Marshals shined a spotlight on the protective details whenever the mob killed a witness and shouted, "Hey, don't kill this one next!" So this leggy light show means Vor and his guardian Henry, played by Timothy Olyphant, need to move again and go into hiding. This means burning documents, license plates, ignoring the conspicuous lizard crawling into their bag, and heading off down the road to some small town in Ohio. And during the montage, Number 4 gives us a downer exposition dump.
I was just a kid when the Mogadorians invaded my planet, Lorien. 9 of us children escaped. We were gifted, meant to protect our people when we grew up. We never got the chance. Everyone was killed.
And he caps it off with this.
I know I'm next. I am number 4.
Now, as much as I've railed against exposition dumps before, I consider this kind of a good thing for the movie to do because it fixes one of the fundamental flaws from the trailer.
What number am I? 7? 5? I'm number 4.
Now, I don't really talk about trailers, but this would have put a lot of the book's fans on edge. Right off the bat, the trailer advertises that it doesn't understand the source material. Number 4 always knew who and what he was, but the trailer used this moment as if him being an alien was a big revelation. You're an alien, Number 4. Oh my god, really? Some trailers just look ugly. Other trailers just betray basic plot points. So Henry and Number 4 find a foreclosed house to hide in, off the books and away from prying eyes. It even comes with some decoration.
It's Bernie Kosar. Played football.
Oh, football, of course. Judging by the poster, I thought he played for the Women's Golf League. They even adopt a puppy and named him after the poster. And before I go much further, I have to point out that people raised on Lorien speak with what sounds like a French accent. So Henry's supposed to sound like he stuffed snails up his nose, or whatever the French do.
I'm French! Why do you think I have this outrageous accent, you silly king?
While Thor and Henry settle down on their new digs, we get a scene that wasn't in the book, as a mysterious someone tears through their last hideout. This is actually Number 6, and we didn't get to see her until much later in the book. Honestly, I'm not even sure why she's here. My guess is they paid Teresa Palmer enough money that they had to put her in another 40 seconds of movie to justify the cost. This scene just shows her looking for Number 4, only stopping when she sees a painting of a guy on a boat. Obviously, this can only mean that 4 is in Ohio. Frankly, showing her looking for him was vapid since they could have covered it with a single line of dialogue when they finally meet.
I've been tracking you.
Neat. It's even more of a waste when you consider that my explanation for why the scene is pointless is even longer than the scene itself. So because he was getting bored just waiting around at home, 4 signs himself up for school. Who needs video games? I want me some book learning.
Well, I'm gonna be safe if I blend in. I promise I'll keep a low profile.
He made the same promise in the book, and the first thing he did was get into a fight. This kid's about as low profile as a crackhead covered in strobe lights. But he does get to school, where he meets 3 side characters. First, there's Sam. He's a bit of a loner because he believes in aliens and everyone ostracizes him because of it. So he's like a less energetic version of Dib from Invader Zim. Right off the bat though, Sam has an obvious problem in that he doesn't wear glasses. Now, this wasn't just a cosmetic difference from his character in the book. See, in the book, he didn't need glasses, but he wore his father's pair because his dad was missing, and doing so brought Sam closer to his memory. It was a small character moment that made him stand out, which the screenwriters cut out to make room for more scenes with the Mogadorians that they created whole cloth. Because priorities! Next is Sarah, who can pretty much be summed up as the obligatory love interest. There's always at least one of these young adult books, isn't there? Sarah likes photography, which means that she's an instant danger to 4, who's trying to keep a low profile, remember? In the movie, she's played by Diana Agron, who's also known for playing one of the kids from Glee. I think she was the annoying one.
Oh, you have no idea.
She's fine in the movie, and she's probably the best representation of her literary counterpart from among the cast, though she doesn't really stand out in the movie. Seriously, watch the movie, wait a week, and then tell me what you remember about her. And finally, there's Mark, played by Jake Abel, also known as Luke from the Percy Jackson movies.
My dad's a jerk. I've never met him. You too? Guess we all got daddy issues, huh?
And yes, he plays an asshat in this movie too. What the movie did to Mark was downright lazy though. He's still Sarah's ex, and he's still captain of the football team. But while he starts out as a grade A jerk in both stories, the book gave him a gradual redemption arc and even a cool hero moment in the climax. The movie keeps him as this petty bastard until he does a sudden about face off screen and gets one scene at the end where your first instinct isn't to punch him. He even gets his cool hero moment cut from the movie. His big contribution in the climax is this. So 4 goes about his day, attends class, watches Mark and his cronies act like jerks to Sam, and nothing really happens until one day in class when 4's powers wake up.
So keep your features, okay? Alright.
Oh, that's bullshit! Alien puberty gives you superpowers, but stupid human puberty just gives you awkward boners and periods. 4's palms turn into flashlights, and he hides in the janitor's closet where Henry finds him. There's this whole early plot point in the book about For leaving his bag behind and Mark stealing his phone, but all that got replaced in the movie by Henry explaining what Lorien's superpowers are.
They call them legacies back home. You, the Nine, you're the only ones who have them.
For's first power is this neat light show, which, in the book, Henry explains makes him resistant to both fire and heat. More on that later. So, with these new superpowers, For and Henry start a rigorous training regimen, which push For to his very breaking point every single day, all in preparation for fighting the Mogadorians and saving the people of Lorien. Or, that's what they did in the book. The movie handled it a little differently.
So what now?
Now, we wait. We're gonna keep growing stronger and faster. I need you to be careful. Right now, you have to focus your mind, get some control. In the meantime, your powers will only draw attention. You keep yourself in check, you understand?
So I got all these powers, but I'm not allowed to use them?
Exactly.
This was such a missed opportunity. This is the start of what I consider the snowball effect of mediocrity throughout the movie. We don't even get a generic training montage later on. The movie just wants us to assume that For now has near perfect control over his powers. It helps that his powers are pretty much reduced to super strength, high endurance, flashlight hands, and later he gets telekinesis, but the book made him work for it. He even started running to and from school to increase his stamina. The most the movie does is give us For testing his powers, but that's just showing what he can do so the movie doesn't have to explain it later. For doesn't have to work so hard to succeed, so his victories aren't as dramatic or satisfying. See, it's like the difference between winning a game of tic-tac-toe versus beating Dark Souls. One makes you feel significantly more accomplished. So after For just happens to run into Sarah in town, he gets invited to dinner. And we can add this movie to the shockingly high pile of other movies with stalker protagonists. Do I need to start a hashtag movement or something? At least some stalking is demonized. Mark also just happened to be outside Sarah's house, probably watching the dinner happen through a window and swearing revenge. How dare For touch Mark's property? So this dinner scene didn't happen until much later in the book. This was supposed to be a Thanksgiving feast, which Henry had also been invited to, since For and Sarah were kind of dating at this point. Henry didn't show, which was a sign that something was wrong, and he had been kidnapped by a pack of conspiracy nerds. The scene also showed the flow of time, which the movie has completely thrown out the window. The book's timeline covered at least a few months. The movie covers the span of maybe a week or two, but you think that's bad? Look what they did to Halloween. So after a scene involving paint and Mark being a prick, we're introduced to the Paradise Spring Scream. The Paradise Spring Scream. Halloween, but with warmer weather and less color. What is this lazy garbage? My guess is they must have filmed this in the spring, likely due to the studio rushing them through production, which has a negative impact on the realism and depth of the movie's setting. It looks lazy, and the moment sticks out as bizarre, like a cosplayer who got impaled on their own homemade spear. There's also no sense of authentic atmosphere. Halloween's a cool holiday and all, but this feels like a hollow imitation, like Bizarro or the new Jurassic World movies. What's really shameful is how easily this can be written around. You can't film in the fall and you just lost the natural Halloween aesthetic? Okay, then you just call this a county festival, or a spring harvest festival, or something. All that really happens is For and Sarah go on a hayride, they get jumped by Mark and his boys, and Sarah gets kidnapped. None of that required the Halloween setting, so why force it in like this? If changes have to be made, fine, it's an adaptation, not a perfect conversion, but at least be smart about it. So For and Sarah get jumped on their date through the haunted trail. Then Mark's goons try to give For a beatdown, all while equipped with night vision goggles. An unfortunate accessory to fight someone equipped with flashlight hands. He's doing a good job keeping a low profile, isn't he? So low that Sam only sees some of For's one-sided beatdown. Great cover running through the dark woods with your hands lit up like emergency flares. But Sarah gets rescued, Mark gets his ass kicked, and For gets a kiss. Oh, and also telekinetic powers when he's walking home, because we had to fit it in somewhere. Then immediately after, For gets a text from Sam asking him to come over. Oh my god, the pacing of this movie's a mess. The telekinesis is slipped in so suddenly that it's little more than an afterthought. When For gained this ability in the book, it was a significant revelation and sign that his powers were evolving. He got all sorts of extra training because of it. Henry never trains with him. Ever. While the book showed Four working his ass off to master his powers, the movie makes them look as easy to master as tying your shoe. So, obviously, the powers must not be that big a deal to these characters. If the protagonist doesn't have to work for it, if his powers and solutions are just handed to him, then it's not worth the audience getting invested. So Sam reveals that he knows about Four's secret powers. How anyone could have found out is beyond me. And he's not the only one.
They walk among us. What is this, some more truth is out there, freaks?
Except that's actually you. One of the kids must have caught you on video.
When Henry tells Four to pack his things, Four refuses.
You have no idea how many others have made sacrifices so you could live, and it wasn't so you could come here and experience puppy love like a real live boy.
While this is close enough to what happened in the book, it doesn't work in the movie. In the book, Four is hesitant to leave because he finally has a friend in Sam and a budding relationship with Sarah, things that he had been missing in his life up to this point. But in the movie, Four started out hanging out with the popular kids, even getting some private flirting time in, for a moment. Movie 4 is accustomed to girls and friends well enough, but now he doesn't want to move? Because of two otherwise insignificant people he bumped into?
She's not just a girl.
Okay, so the movie does try to justify this otherwise. Henry sits down with Four and gives him some brief explanation of why they have to fight the Mogadorians, as if it weren't obvious already.
There are a few forces that can stop them. You and the other 5 can.
And it also throws out this bit about soulmates, because apparently Four just can't get Sarah out of his head.
We don't love like the humans. With us, it's forever. You never forget.
So, Lorians are like penguins.
You don't have a family and we're all going to die. What?
But despite Four finding his soulmate, they still need to leave. Until Henry disappears when searching for the source of the website that hosted the video of Four's glowing leg. Apparently he wasn't able to hack the website to take the video down, so he has to find the guy who posted it and do it from his house. Okay, having alien technology that can hack multiple websites at once, override their encryption data, and delete images of Four, I can buy. This single rundown website being immune from that alien hacking technology, I can't. This is why the book wisely just kept the physical information, like printed photographs and school records, nothing digital. It just keeps things easier and doesn't rely on impossibly good website design. This random conspiracy website is more secure than all the credit card companies and the Department of Defense. And I wish that was a joke. So Four gets a phone call from Henry's phone, but it's not his guardian.
Who are you? Where's Henry?
417 Willard Court, Warsaw, Indiana.
Four phones Sam, mostly because Sam has access to a car, and the two plot a little road trip. And as soon as they reach their destination, Four turns him away like the cheap Uber driver that Sam is.
Dude, I came here to help you.
You have. Now go home.
But Sam is determined to help out and follows Four, until Four tells him to go away again.
Okay, you plan. You follow that guy and you text me if he comes back, okay?
Copy that. I'm on it.
Okay, so Four did tell Sam to go follow the guy, and this does kind of match the book, but it's still a little off. There, Sam was more like Four's buddy, watching his back and following one of the thugs because neither of them had any idea where Henry was or who these people were. Movie 4 treats Sam more like an annoying little brother who only came along because Mom said he had to. In the basement of the house, Four finds Henry, who got jumped and knocked out by the neckbeards running the website. For the record, Henry's an experienced warrior who was able to take on Four without any superpowers of his own. But to be fair, the book didn't really say anything more than Henry got ambushed. No real detail there, which does conflict with his badass guardian persona, but whatever. Then the movie completely shifts from the book. Sam gets dragged back, having been captured by one of the conspiracy guys, who reveals that the Mogs are on Earth and have evil plans. And for some reason, Four looks stunned by the same information that he more or less started the movie off with.
They like it here. Earth? They're gonna take all this shit, everything.
But while Four and the others escaped the Mogs in time in the book, the movie has a Mog pop in for a quick fight scene. And the fight is fine at face value until you realize they damaged the Mog's aesthetic for this to work. And no, I'm not talking about his face. The Mog's laser looks like a powerful laser shotgun combo, which is cool, but that's all it is, a laser. In the book, the Mogadorians' weapons were powered by draining the life energy of the things around them. It was a small touch that amplified their destructive nature and made them look all the more dangerous. They're so vicious that simply shooting one of their guns causes excess collateral damage. The Mogadorians are a walking EPA violation. But it gets worse. Henry goes full Ash Williams on the Mog long enough for everyone to escape the basement, and they make it out to Sam's truck. But the Mog comes running, and...
Oh my god!
Henry takes a stab wound for 4, which turns fatal. He has some parting words with 4, then Henry, and his clothes for some reason, turn to dust and drift away in the wind. Boy, those Lorians must really save a bundle on funeral expenses. And while Henry does die in the book as well, it was so much cooler there. I'll go over the climax in more detail later, but the book set it up well enough that it felt like an apocalyptic scenario, with Mogs and their monsters just pouring in left and right. Henry put on a brave stand, but ultimately sustained too many injuries to survive and died. Cutting him out of the climax just sounds like a budgetary cleanse, because now there's one less person to film and include in choreography. And that's on top of all the other problems with the climax. But while we're talking about Henry, let's cover the one plot point the movie made for him that wasn't in the book: his motivation for coming to paradise. The movie gives us a scene of Henry poking around some old building, and he had apparently been in contact with Sam's dad.
Malcolm, what were you up to here?
He even grabs this geode, which works its way into the plot later.
I have one of those.
What?
The first book never even hinted at this possibility. Now, is it possible that this gets uncovered later on in the series? Sure, but this geode and Henry's motivation were not presented in the book. There, Henry just worked small jobs in town, staying quiet and trying to keep a low profile. But while I'm on this tangent, I might as well take a detour and explain that there are a number of important scenes and plot points that the movie just cut from the book. For one, 4 had a vision from when he was a kid escaping Lorien in a spaceship. He had been told that there was only one ship that escaped, which held him, the other escaped kids, and their guardians. But he distinctly remembered seeing a second ship escaping as well. This is a plot point that will no doubt become vital later in the series. There was also something they left out from this party scene at Mark's house. The movie does have 4 run in and get Sarah, as is what happened in the book, but what the movie forgot was that the building was supposed to be on fire. Now, this might not be a huge difference to some because this was the big reveal where Sarah discovered that 4 had powers. And that's what happens in the movie here and with a subsequent police chase when Mark rats 4 out to his dad, the chief of police. However, in the book, this was also the scene where 4 saved Mark's 2 dogs. This was fundamental for Mark's rocky relationship with 4, and it convinced Mark to help 4 during the climax. What do you have against puppies, movie? How can you look at this derpy little face and say, "We don't want you here"? But no dogs means no resolution, and no resolution means Mark's big contribution to the climax gets cut down to this. Gotta be honest though, I do love that moment. But speaking of puppies, we get a blink and you'll miss it scene with Sam picking up Bernie Kosar, who then both swing by Sam's place to get the other half of the geode from earlier. We get another scene with the Mogs, this time taking out Mark's dad, in the movie's rushed attempt to give Mark a redemption arc. During these scenes, we get snippets of the Mog leader, played by Kevin Durand. And while these extra scenes with the Mogs weren't in the book and don't really add anything to the story, I do kind of enjoy how much Durand is hamming it up. He brings in a lot of energy and speaks with so much arrogant confidence that you totally understand why he's as cocky as he is.
I bet you watch a lot of television, don't you? Do you? Do you? Yes. In this situation here, you're probably thinking, maybe I could save the day, maybe I could be the hero. But I say, don't do that. Okay.
The movie has a lot of flaws, but Durand's performance is not one of them. After 4 saves Sarah from a boring house party, they both flee the cops and hide in the school. The Mogs soon find them though, and gear up for a slaughter. And this is where the big cinematic battle happens. But not to worry, because number 6 is here to save the day! While 6 does get this cool Sarah Connor entrance, the moment is ruined the moment she opens her mouth.
Where's your protector?
Dead.
Yeah, mine too. Mog's got her 4 months ago.
Ugh. That is painful. Palmer was harmless enough in the other scenes where she just stood there and looked intense, but she's in this weird middle ground where she sounds like she's fighting against her accent and losing. Her acting is terrible, and while part of that is the dialogue's fault, her stern nature is undercut by how awful she sounds. And then there's what the movie did with her powers. While she kept her power of invisibility, she also became fireproof. This is an issue because that's supposed to be one of 4's superpowers. It was how he got through the house fire without getting burned. And if that wasn't bad enough, she gained that ability at the expense of her god-tier Thor powers. She disappears at one point in the book, only to summon a lightning strike so powerful that it devastated a good chunk of the Mog's attack force. In the movie, the best she gets is a few ninja stealth kills and some pot shots. Which sucks because she could have been a low-key Thor. So the fight presses on as the Mogs unleash their secret weapon. It's this hideous giant bat mount from World of Warcraft. These things are big, strong, and pointy. Thor has trouble fending one off until some unexpected backup arrives. Bernie Kosar shows up and reveals that he can change shape and size at will. He fights the monster, finishing it off in the showers, where he gets injured and flops over in the water. Now, in the book, he helps defend Thor and he didn't go off on his own. In fact, Thor ends up carrying him around near the end, something the movie forgot to do, but I'll get to that in a bit. So while Bernie Kosar is being a good boy, 4 and 6 take on the Grunts, finishing them off one after the other. And while this is all fine and good, it's a far cry from what the book gave us. There, everyone had to work together, barely scraping by against impossible odds. You really got a sense for just how overwhelming the Mogadorian forces were. 4 was pushed to the limits of all his training, Henry died, 6 went full Thor and barely survived, Bernie Kosar hulked out and still nearly bled to death. It was practically a small-scale Armageddon. But the movie just put things on easy mode. By the end of everything, you don't have that devastating sense of loss that the book forced you through, and you're left with very little in terms of thrills or danger. Wow, gang, that sure was a tough battle, but we did it! Now let's go get some chocolate frosty milkshakes. So we get a final showdown on the football field, where they take out a few Mogs, another giant bat mount, and they take down the Mog leader in this slow-mo action shot that I can't enjoy because 4 looks too much like Jake Paul passing a hemorrhoid. But the Mog leader dies when 4 supercharges his grenades, 6 protects them both with her fireproof ability, and I guess Mark is still unconscious in the front yard. So everyone gets a happy ending. 4 and 6 combine the geodes, which flashes a few symbols and disintegrates.
Oh, well, that was disappointing.
The movie in a nutshell. But the geode gave them mental maps to the other Lorien kids, which helps prompt a sequel, and they get ready to— Oh my god, did Bernie Kosar just get there? You didn't even check on him when the battle was done! Okay, screw this, I'm switching sides. Go Mogadorians! You have seen this story before, and you've seen it done better. The movie fits nicely along with other unimpressive young adult movies that had potential, but failed to make any real impact, like The Mortal Instruments or Aragon. But the movie never gives itself a chance to explore any of the elements that could make it unique. 4 never gets a training montage, for example, and we don't really see any creative use of his powers. The movie is otherwise strictly average in every other way. The music is okay, the set pieces are okay, the costumes are okay, and the acting ranges from okay to bleh. Just forget this one because you won't get anything of substance out of it. The movie gets a 2 out of 5. The book was little more than a standard YA novel, but there was definitely more thought put into it than the movie. There was at least some thematic depth in the characters and the powers, like how the Mogadorians' weapons drain life from things all around them. Number 4 was a more likable character since he actually struggled in his life, not just to master his powers, but also as the perpetual new kid in school. He was socially awkward but put his best foot forward and tried to do the right thing. It was a little simplistic and it did cut corners now and then, like Henry getting ambushed, but it still made for an enjoyable read. The book gets a 4 out of 5. This is a glorious example of a big missed opportunity. While the book follows a lot of the usual young adult tropes, the movie focused on those while eschewing what made the series great. What you get is a by-the-numbers story with almost no personality. Normally, I'll criticize a movie for focusing on the plot instead of the characters or the universe, but the movie didn't even do that right. It took a few plot elements from the book, then just fit them in wherever, kinda like it was doing a jigsaw puzzle with a hammer. What you wind up with is a hollow, forgettable mess that likely ruins elements and characters from later in the series, like that geode or the missing second spaceship. As an adaptation, I Am Number 4 gets a 2 out of 5. And that was I Am Number 4. While I was ready to say goodbye to Alex Pettyfer, since this was the last literary adaptation that I was aware of that he starred in, some last-minute research uncovered not only a 5th film that he starred in, but one that he directed.